Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Uncle Demi podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Uncle Demi. Now, today I am thrilled to have a special guest who needs no introduction in the gaming community, but deserves one nonetheless. Joining us is the one and only Badgeplug, a true connoisseur of basketball gaming and a master of making you laugh while he's at it. With a channel boosting over 963,000 subscribers and a plethora of content that has captured the hearts of basketball enthusiasts worldwide, Badgeplug has become a household name. His journey began back in 2016, and since then, he's been the go-to guru for all things NBA 2K. From his early days of sharing tips and being the first pick in the NBA draft when he went by Daft Boy, to his face reveal that has fans clicking in droves, Badgeplug has kept us entertained and informed. His videos are not just gameplay. They're a blend of strategy, humor, news, and passion for basketball that resonates with each view. Whether he's battling it out with the top ranked players in NBA 2K24 or breaking down game changing builds, his content is a playbook for success in the virtual court. So plug in your headphones and get ready to be inspired by the man who's not just playing the game, but changing the way we play it. Let's give a warm welcome to Daft Boy. Badgeplug. Badgeplug. What's up, brother?
That was crazy. That's crazy. You did some
Hey, I had
homework,
to do my
huh?
research. Yeah, come on, man. You know Uncle do his research, man. I had to do my research, and again, man, it's very, very, very good to have you here, man. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. I'm excited.
I want to first just start it off, man. Let's go straight to it, man. Like, let's talk about Daft Boy, man. I think that's a good way to start off, man. 'Cause I don't think a lot of people know about that. It took me to I had to go
No.
through a lot of videos, and then I saw one. I was like, "Oh snap, Daft Boy!" I was like, "Okay, cool." Um, that was your original name, for YouTube, or was it just your PSN name?
Yeah, so Daft Boy. It's a name I came up with when I was like 10 years old. And I was wanting to play on this website. It was a game on, I think it was like Cartoon Network. It was a show called Blues Imaginary Friends, House of Imaginary Friends or something. And I wanted to
Hmm.
play on there, but you had to ask your parents for permission. And my mom was like, "Oh, how about your initials and then boy?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." So it's my initials
Oh,
and then boy with official, of course.
oh, yeah. Okay, cool. That's dope. Okay, well there you go. And how long did you have that name before you changed over to Bashplug?
So I've actually had like two or three other YouTube channels that I did like, as a kid, they were just like messing around and stuff like that with
Okay,
that name kind of. I'm not gonna definitely not giving them away. No one is
yeah.
finding those. But I had Daft Boy probably in the 2K community for about 2 years, and then I changed to Badge Plug.
Okay. Cool. And let's just go ahead and wind it back a little bit. I want to go all the way back to the beginning of time, man. Let's just let people know, man. So, like, where are you from? And I'm just more concerned about the athletic side of things, as you know, growing up. So, where are you from, and what was your athletic career looking like?
Okay, so I'm from like Eastern Tennessee. I'm not gonna say exactly where, of course, but around like the Gatlinburg, Sevierville area. If you guys or if anyone's familiar with Tennessee, in terms of athletics, I actually never really played on a lot of teams. Played at like 10 years old, 12 years old, stuff like that. But when it came to high school, look, I'm not a role model. Basically, I'm just gonna say it was iffy if I was going to be able to play for a whole season due to grades and things like that. So I never really, like I played, I would get off the bus and either go straight to my system or go straight to the court. But in terms of playing on a team, it was just never something that I was going to put my time into because I never knew if I was going to be able to stay for the whole season or not.
Ah, okay. And so I'm assuming sports played a major role in your life growing up, obviously for most of us. What are some of your favorite sports teams, man? I got to hear them.
So my dad is from Long Island, New York, and he's
Okay.
the guy that got me into basketball, football. We played hockey, we played top spin, which is something I guess we'll
Okay.
talk about at some point. We used to play everything, and my dad got me into all that stuff. So basically, I'm a Knicks fan, Giants fan. I support the Grizzlies, I
Ah,
guess. Things like that. But
Okay.
yeah, it sucks to see that we lost that series. But we were hurt, bro. We had like 6 people hurt. I mean, we fought.
Facts.
So
I'm shocked. I did not think that you were a Knicks fan. I don't see you even on Twitter, even like, so you're just not the outspoken type. I don't even think I even see you ever in like a YouTube video even speak about the Knicks and that type of deal. So that's actually new to me. I did not know that. I'm a diehard Lakers fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. So, obviously now I can talk so much junk to you. Okay, yeah, of course. Now we're Lakers now. Yeah, we're Lakers. We'll get that.
yeah.
We're on the same
Yeah, I still support
same
LeBron.
plane for that. Yeah, you support LeBron. I'll take that. But when it comes to the Giants, and my Cowboys, now I know I can hit you
Oh,
up and we can talk a little junk back and forth now. See, now that's good to
ooh,
know.
that's gonna be a rough
I
one.
am definitely, yeah, come on, man. But let's go ahead. And so sports is playing an important part in your life as all was growing up. Um, when did gaming come in? What was your first console that you played on?
Oh man, first console. Wow. So my dad was always a gamer, right? Always a gamer, one of the OGs. He always talks about his Atari and stuff, all that stuff back in the day. Uh I think my first console was the first edition of the Game Boy that before the color, you know what I'm saying? It didn't have the brightness or anything like that. And I
When it
think
was
my
gray with the
first game that
purple
I
buttons.
actually owned. What'd you say?
Gray with the purple buttons.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
first
that
Game
one, the
Boy.
the big one, the fat one. Yeah, I
Yep.
think the first game I actually ever owned was Mario. I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong on that. It's been a while.
And okay. And then what was your first basketball game that you played?
So when this comes up, I'm pretty sure it was the one with KG on the cover, which is like 2K9, 2K8, something like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I never remember like exactly which one it was. I just remember like I would load up the game. I'd watch my dad play, obviously, and I would just change all the sliders to where I could make every shot. The other team would miss every shot, and that's basically my first like time playing 2K is just cheesing. You know what I'm saying? Cheesing the
Yeah,
computer.
yeah, exactly. So um let's say 2K9. When did you start actually taking it seriously? Where you was like, obviously it seems like they were young at that time. When did you actually start taking it seriously and then start to realize like, man, actually I'm pretty good at this?
So I used to play with my friends a lot. Like, I'd play with my dad, my friends, play now online, or not online, but play now. That's where I started with 2K. And I always knew that I could beat this guy and beat this guy. And I was always like better than my friends and stuff. But it was around like the My Team era, my career, like Chris Move, 2K13, 2K14. And I would do like no money spent series or very close to no money spent back when you
Hmm.
actually could do that on My Team. Talk about that later, I guess. But
Facts. Yeah.
and I would just slap people. Like I'd go. It was like you would play 10 games, it was like road to playoffs or something. So I'd go like 9-1 or 10-0, 9-1, 10-0, and it was around 2K14 or 15. Not almost nobody knows this, but I had a Twitch channel back when I was a teenager in high
Hmm.
school, and I used to average like 100, 200 viewers, and then I stopped playing My Team. Like I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it as much. I went into park and stuff like that.
So my team was your primary game mode of choice. Um,
Yeah.
that's actually pretty surprising, especially now because you don't do much my team. I know you don't do it content wise. Do you play offline a lot?
No, I basically don't play any My Team anymore. It's a sad state where it's at, even before this year. But
Hmm.
yeah, My Team was like my first like online love for 2K. I played it. I came home from school. I either played basketball or I played My Team, and there was no in the
Hmm.
middle.
And the my team aspect, was it because of the card collecting? Did you collect cards in real life and then that kind of transition over, or was it just in general you just wanted to play the my team side because of the cards?
I'm not really sure exactly why I was like so into it. I did love having like I think what it was actually was having a bunch of stars on one team, having like an all-star team and having
Makes
Curry and
sense.
LeBron and I used to be there for the pink diamond drops they used to do. And I would try so hard to get them back in like 2K14, 15. I remember I got pink diamond Iggy. I think I might have got like Carl Malone or someone, but I
Hmm.
always missed out. I barely got any, but it was so exciting to get one. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Back in the
Yeah,
day.
exactly. And I think that's just kind of what is the thought for most ultimate teams across all their gaming modes, across it from EA to all the other games. It's just that aspect of, what, man, listen, you know, I'm opening up these packs. It's just like in real life, you know how it is. You open up, you could
Yep.
for me, it started off with collecting sports cards. Then I started collecting Pokemon cards. It's the same thing. It's just the excitement of opening up the pack and seeing if you got something really good. And of
Yeah.
course we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I really wanted to get into, you did speak on 2K13, trying to do typical, like a no money spent type of deal. But you mentioned some OGs in the game. Is that when you are is that when you first started getting into content creation, like uploading to your YouTube channel, Daft Boy, or was it something else? Meaning, was it one of the OGs that got you into there, like So Illuminati, watching those guys, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna start a channel," or did you already had a channel started and then start doing content?
So I have 2 or 3 old channels from when I was a kid, and maybe one day someone will find them now that they know the Daft Boy thing. Maybe we'll see. But what it was actually for the most part was just random stuff. Like I was playing Facebook games. It was called Mobsters, and I think one of my first videos I ever uploaded, if you ever heard of GameBattles.com, I used to be really into that as
uh
a kid. And basically, you would just play against other people. Sometimes you could do it for money, but it was like you would play against other people and you would report the win or the loss after the game. That could be a competitive
mm,
game, and people would dispute a lot. They would say, "Oh, I won," so you had to post proof. And that was actually one of the biggest reasons that I had a channel, is because I would set up my mom's little camera on a little table, and my first video on one of my channels, I'm not sure which one, was me zooming in on my dad playing game battles with the Knicks, and he was winning a game. And I'm like, he's like, show the camera, show the score, show like you can hear him in the
yeah.
background saying all that. So we were posting our proof. And but in terms of like who got me into 2K, man, it's a whole big story. Like I said, I started before, and then content creation kind of came. I was playing against my friends and my dad, and then online, and Chris Move was there, which was a big one. Then like Chester the Laser.
Mm,
I'm not really sure if it was them that got me. It was definitely a part of, you know, that legendary era that got me into
mm.
wanting to make content, but I'm not really sure if there's a single thing you can like pinpoint and say, okay, that's why I did it, you know?
Yeah, that's dope. From the conversation just right now, it feels like your dad played a really huge influence on you. I mean, you're recording your dad so you can post scores for him. So your dad being a
Yep.
gamer, I'm pretty sure, was he the one that kind of said like, "Yo, like we need to upload these things. We can try to have a YouTube channel or anything like that." Because you bring your dad up so much, so I'm assuming it's safe to say that y'all are pretty tight. Um, how much of an influence has your dad had in your gaming life in general, from the infancy all the way up to now?
Oh, I mean, I have no idea. I love the butterfly effect, which is like, if this never happened, you would, who knows where you'd be right now. It's like, I'm not entirely sure at all that I'd be here if my dad never got me into games and basketball and sports and throwing the baseball in the backyard and all that stuff, like
Yeah.
just putting it into me like, okay, this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, I have no idea. My dad definitely
Yeah,
played a big role for sure.
that's dope, man. That's dope, man. That's really dope because I know that obviously I'm older and my dad came from a whole different generation. So me picking up the gaming and stuff was completely different. Um, my parents didn't play video games. That was just like the worst thing to do. Like, when you had old school
Yeah,
parents, if you need to be
yeah,
outside until the sun comes down, video games are evil, that type of deal. But now it's funny because I feel like the relationship you have with your dad, that's a relationship I have with my son and my daughter and stuff, because they're in the gamings, they're all that stuff. And so I'm been the one kind of pushing them about all the modern day stuff of uploading YouTube channels or doing TikToks and that type of deal. So um it's really dope because I know when you talk about it a lot in your YouTube videos, tweets, and stuff like that about the influence of your pop. So I wanted to make sure I put that out there because, a lot of parents out there don't understand like just that little tidbit of just influence of just pushing your child in direction that they're happy or motivated in, or just having something to relate with their parents with. could lead to a badge plug that's pushing to get 1 million subs on YouTube. So
Yep.
again,
Yep.
video gaming is not a bad thing anymore. It's not a bad thing anymore. Um, so let's talk about this then. Your content that I started seeing on your YouTube channel that I saw was 2K17. That's when I started to see really like your push for consistent videos. You know, was that the point in time where you were really trying to be a YouTuber at that time? Was this like, okay, I'm about to be a YouTuber?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a long road until we've got to this 2K17 spot where you can see like even that. You know how people are like, "Oh, overnight success." If you looked at my channel today or something like that, you'd be like, "Wow." But like look how far we've got to just get to my first video on my channel that you can see, you know? And it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, 2K17 was around the time where it was 2K16. I actually have a few videos. I started late 2K16 and I'm really it's an unfortunate situation that back in the day I deleted those videos instead of unlisting them because I would love to go back and see
Mm,
them. But yeah, I did start early 2K16 actually, and then 17
okay.
happened. I was working at Dollar General. I was 18 years old, and you know I never came from like a lot, but we weren't like super poor, right? So like my parents were able to get me a console, and you know get me to the point where I could have a job and I had a car to go to work, and so I literally got a computer. I rented a computer with the rest of my money. I didn't even have enough money to buy the computer that I got. And I spent
Mm,
the actual rest of my money on a Blue Yeti microphone and an Elgato and all that stuff. Everything I had was all in. I was like, I'm doing this. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I can do this. I know I can.
yeah.
And yeah, that's where we started. So I took 2K17 decently serious for a minute, and then I started the whole badge grinding thing. And so at the time, it was like I'm making not actually a lot now, you know, but as a kid, like I was making too much money to be posting and making 5 cents per video, right? Like I was making
Yeah.
enough that I was making more than I was at Dollar General. So I was like, there's no
Correct.
way I'm going to keep posting YouTube videos for now. I got to keep going. And so that's kind of how it started from where you can see on my channel, you know?
Yeah. It's funny because in your earlier videos, you actually plugged yourself for your grinding. It's almost like to me, it's funny you say that because I felt like when I watched your videos, you were more concerned about making sure people knew about you did badge grinding or you were selling accounts more than you did actual content. It was almost like you were using the content as an ad placement for, hey, you know, I can grind badges for you and I can also have accounts. And you would literally spend the first minute or two in the video showing like, hey, I got this, you know, this bill right
Yep.
here, this is that. When like
Yep.
I thought that was genius. I'm like, damn, like he knew before anybody else about like how you could market yourself to be able to get that that the word out there about your what you can do on the side. What else? What other avenues did you use to be able to let people know that you grinded accounts and so you grinded badges and sold accounts?
Yeah, so it was a crazy time back in the day. You know, you got to think about it. I just got out of high school and I was like, I had a girlfriend of like 3 years, and it was just a whole, I have no idea what I want to do going on right now. And then this badge grinding thing came out of nowhere, which by the way, I'm not the first person to ever make the badge grinding system that is going
Mm.
on. And by the way, I'm not sports TNB for anyone watching this video. That is not
Facts.
me. Okay.
I was
That's a
going to talk
different
about that.
person. Okay. But, so this guy, his name was Air Dame, and in 2K17 he did badges for Nadex. And so I seen that and I was like, I turned it into what badge grinding was, like the max capabilities of what it could be. So what he did, I think, was he just like grinded out his overall. And I was like, at the time on 2K17, you could grind out like intangibles, so like vertical and all
Hmm.
that stuff you had to do in the practice facility. And I got all the badges. And so I turned it into I can do everything for your player. And at first it was just badge grinding. So I was just doing badges for people. And then I started doing account selling, which I don't even remember how or what happened to come up with that. But that whole thing, the account selling, took me away from badge grinding, except for a very small amount of people. Like I did badges in early 2K18 for Cash Nasty and things like that. But I sold an account to Luis Tomlinson. A guy in One
Dang.
Direction with like 30 million followers, and Will Fuller, a
Yeah.
wide receiver in the NFL. The game, I have a video. My friend has a video of me on the FaceTime with the game, which was pretty cool back in the day. And that whole thing was just like, you can see
Wow.
why I took a break from what I was doing, because I was like, there's no
Yeah.
way I can just let this go. Right. But then early
And would you
2K18 came. My fault. What?
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so 2K early 2K18 came, and I did badges for Cash Nasty, and I was like, okay, I've done this for almost a whole year now. It's time to get back to what I actually want to do, because I did not enjoy selling accounts and badging. That was just something that got me to a comfortable spot as a kid where I was like, okay, now I can actually focus on what I wanted to do from the beginning.
Yeah. And doing that badge grinding, what were you like? How were you marketing that other than your videos? Was it YouTube? Was it Instagram? Was it Twitter? Like, how did people know about you? Was it word of mouth?
So I guess it was partly word of mouth, but a lot of it was like, I did badges for Nadex, who at the time he was the first or the second legend in 2K17. So he would shout me out, and then I would do badges for someone, and they would shout me out. So it was kind of like a community driven. Okay, this guy's got a good amount of followers, and he knows I'm legit, so he tells these people I'm legit, and it just kind of keeps going like a snowball.
Hmm. Okay. And now you're badge plug. Like, it's official.
Yep.
You are officially badge plug. You're grinding out everything. You're doing that. On the gaming side, did you even have time to truly play the game like you wanted to? Or was it just from their point on, it was just business?
No, I mean the whole 2K17 from when I sold my account was just basically business. Like I got back on the game later in the year, and I actually had McGurk's account, and I changed it to DM Badge Plug was the gamer tag. And then a whole situation with that happened where I had to pay him back because I think his account got banned or something. It was a whole bunch of stuff. But basically,
Oh.
2K18 came. I grinded out Cash Nasty's badges, which could be a stream. It's probably unlisted on my account, but I streamed the whole thing while I was grinding his badges, and I did Hank the Tank's badges. And back then, he was like just came off 2K17, so that was a
Hmm.
big thing. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this because 2K18 came out, and I was grinding these people's accounts, and I'm like, at the same time, I might as well show people how I do it, the methods and all
Yeah.
that. And so they would get like 10,000, 20,000 views. I'm like, I can actually start doing this. I can see that I know how to do something on here. So I started out with that. It was just like a whole, if you go to 2K18 September, it was just like badge, 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 badge. And then we just went from there. I started streaming, and the rest is history on that.
Facts. It really is, because that's when you really start to take off. You start to see the growth in your viewership, and your the beginning of your career as a YouTuber was exactly that. Just showing different badges. You had some jump shots and stuff mixed in there, but it's definitely
Mm-hmm.
not the badge plug that we know of today. Okay, but
No.
2K18. All right, we're leading up to 2K19. Do you kind of remember how many subs you had on YouTube at that time?
Yes, I actually do. I went from, I mean, a few thousand to over 100K before the end of 2K18. Back then,
Yeah.
this was the whole Fortnite is destroying everything, and 2K18 was
Mm-hmm.
horrific as it was, as is, especially comparing it to 2K17. And so everyone was like, oh, 2K is dead. And I grinded, I uploaded almost every day and streamed almost every day, even though the videos weren't that good. But I did stream every day. I wanted to really put in a lot of work, and I loved hearing at the end of the year like, oh, as soon as 2K19 comes out and the OGs come back, you're done for, and so much funny stuff about that time period, because that's really what a lot of people thought. They'd be like, oh, these people that are doing good right now, as soon as everyone comes back for 2K19, because 2K just missed for 1 year, like they're going to be gone. And so it was a really
Exactly.
interesting period in gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because 2K 18, that was when you blew up. That's when Duke Dennis blew up. I think
Yep.
I'm Davis is probably more 17, but 18 he really started to get a lot of momentum. Because 2K 18 is when I started looking at your accounts. That's when I started watching your stuff
Yeah.
for the badges and stuff like that, whatever. So that's when I first realized recognized you. So you were definitely starting to get a buzz in the community. And then the big one would be to me, which was just like 2K19, 2K20 is really when we start to get like the massive explosion of badge plug. That's when you start to get the variety, really what the badge plug that we kind of know today. That is when we started to see the badge plug. You started doing everything from builds, jump
Hmm.
shots, gameplay, um, and of course, which we'll talk about, which we can talk about right now. You talk about glitches, um,
Yeah.
anything and everything that you could utilize, you did. Um, and that got you in some big trouble with 2K. I would say probably, I would say either you or Joe Knows probably had the most backlash from 2K for some of the glitches that you did. Let's talk about that. All right. Because I know a lot of people are going to want to know what, besides the obvious that, by putting glitches and stuff like that on your YouTube channel, that is going to get you a lot of views, how to circumvent for VC or whatever it might be. What was some of the driving factors behind that? Was it just for the numbers and impressions and, the money that comes with it, or was it something else?
Man, I would say probably at the time, just being honest, it was probably just for views. I was just like,
Yeah.
here's a VC glitch and here's a VC glitch. But, the glitches definitely started to pile up. Like I knew it was bad when I had to I had to drop a video and then buy another console and then take the console back and get another console because I was literally getting console banned like
Oh,
at one
yes.
point.
Yes.
And
And you were
so
even in your videos, you had to use other consoles, you had to use other people's accounts, and then you would literally
mhm,
say, "This is not my account. This is Blase Blase account. Do not ban them." You try doing everything you
yep.
possibly can, and 2K was literally on a mission to just ban you on every little thing you had. And for me personally, from the outside looking in, I was just like, "Bro, that is like a little excessive." In my opinion, I felt like that was excessive because at the end of the day, it's not your responsibility, all right, as a consumer to say, hey, there's a loophole in your account, there's a loophole in your game. Let me go ahead and just report it. You know what I'm saying? Da da da. No, the loophole is in the game. It's a loophole. It's in the
Yep.
game. So 2K, you have to fix that. If not, hey, we can circumvent that because it's in the game. It's available to us to do it. And now you just put it on a grander scale as far as allowing people to know about this loophole. And you were literally like the modern day Robin Hood, man. You know what I'm saying? Taking from the rich,
Mhm.
giving to the poor. Like Badgeplug was the man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I was sitting there, I was like, shoot, man, VC glitch, baby. I'm over here, but everybody's knocking it out. And it will be funny
Yep.
because I'll literally tell my homeboys, everybody, hey, Bashpo got it. And we'll go to your channel. We're doing it step by step. And we'll get the VC and everything like that we need. And then when you got banned, I remember literally hit my best friend up. I'm like, yo, man, 2K just banned Bashplug. It I felt like that was to me your massive blow up because it was all over. Like if that would have happened now, like you would be trending on Twitter, right? You know what I'm saying? It'll be trending on
Yeah.
Twitter. Free badge plug, blase blah. Like you were the man. Um, but going through that and now knowing what you went through, do you think it was worth it, or do you think it was like, man, nah, maybe I probably shouldn't have done that?
I 100% think it was worth it. I mean, I don't regret
Hell yeah.
anything that I did to do that. Like at the time when I first started, like I said, I was just wanting the views, whatever. But at a certain point, it was like, hey, I'm helping a lot of people out. They're saving money, and this is a great thing. It's like we're both helping each other out. It's a great relationship
Facts.
we got here. But back to what you were saying about getting banned, and uh, it's a glitch in their game, right? It's
Hmm.
someone's gonna post it. A lot of people are. If you have a big glitch in the game, people are going to post it. And
Hmm.
I understand banning a few times, but literally like going after every console and IP man and all this stuff was a bit crazy. I mean, if you guys have this massive glitch here, like badge glitch, there's a VC glitch, like at some point you got to start pointing the fingers back this way and saying, hey, it's this guy's fault, not this guy's fault. Like, let's fix this
Yeah.
if we really care
Yeah.
that much about it. right?
Exactly. Because yeah, of course, you did the badge glitch is the badge glitch that Joe Knows dropped just
Mhm.
for that time frame. I mean, I remember vividly going in cages, like maxing out 4 builds, getting all the
Yep.
badges, just like whatever. And again, I don't know. I got to talk to Joe about that. I don't know if maybe you know. I don't know if they console banned him or did that stuff because I don't think so. Because I think he still went about his day. But again, I don't know. But I felt like for you, they really came at you. Did you get any type of communication with 2K? Did Ronnie or
Mm.
anybody, did you hear anything from 2K, or was it just a matter of just like you kept on getting console banned? And then on top of that, what type of explanation were you able to tell like your peeps, your family and stuff? I know like, a lot of people don't see that aspect of like your parents are like, wait a minute, you can't play the game. Like, this is how you're making your money. I want to know twofold. Did you hear something from 2K? And then what was the response from your family?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't even remember that Joe Knows got banned for a badge glitch back in 2K19. It was
Yeah, I
around
do.
December,
Yep.
and I still remember to this day. I have like my conspiracies with 2K. I think that they actually made this glitch on purpose because it was right around Christmas, and like everybody was just getting the game, and or there was a lot of people home, so they were happier that they could just load in on their new build, grind, max out the badges, and boom, they can go play.
Mhm.
So I think 2K put the glitch out on purpose, but that's just to this
And
day
when you think it took it
my
out on
little
purpose and gave it to
conspiracy.
Joe Knows and said,
Yeah, well,
"Joe,
I don't
go
know if
ahead
they
and
gave it to
release this."
Joe, but like
Oh, okay. I see.
so
Yeah,
he
yeah.
so he got banned, I got banned, and then explaining it to my parents and stuff, I've never really like, dude, my dad still thinks that I stream. Like, he thinks that that's like the main thing I do, and it's just so many times I'm like, okay, I don't sit in the camera and like play live. I upload videos, so like I record it and then I talk about it and edit it. Just the whole process of even explaining it to my dad or my mom, like, you know, it's just not possible. So it was never really anything
Yeah.
where I was like, "Okay, dad, I just got banned and they're banning me because of this." Because he'd just be like, "Huh? Like, what are you even talking about?" So,
Yeah.
was
Okay.
there's like 3 questions in there. Did I miss one?
No, you answered him. You answered him. That's good. That's good
Okay,
because
okay.
um to me, I think this is what leads up to what we have today. The love-hate relationship between Badge Plug and Take Two, right? Or am I wrong? Was there something before that, or was this kind of like a part you was like, okay, you know what? Like this is not right. Y'all banning me, y'all console banning me, y'all IP banning me, y'all banning my friends' accounts if I actually use their accounts online. Like y'all literally coming
Yep.
right after me. That obviously put a sour taste in your mouth. Do you think that the badge plug that we have today, when it comes to you and Take Two, was that the origin of this distaste for 2K when you felt like they were basically bullying you?
No, I mean, okay, so I did all those glitches in 19 and I posted one in 18 and 20. It was like 3 years where I was posting glitches.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2K21, they forgave me by giving me a logo back in
Yep.
2K21 next gen, which I did lose like 2 or 3 months later. Uh,
Yeah.
but I would say that I don't have any resentment for any of that period. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
uh,
understand what I did and I did my time, right?
yep.
So yeah, I don't think that there's any like, but yeah, that probably was the beginning of. I think it was 2K18. It wasn't even the glitches. It was just the game they came out with in 18 was just like, wow, what am I
Yeah.
even? This is the same company. I can't even believe this is the same people that made 2K15 and 16. Like, I don't, at the time, obviously, I did have some resentment towards 2K, but nowadays, nothing that I say or how I feel has anything to do with what happened back then. Like I
Okay.
mean, I I did what I did, and I paid my time. I paid for it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely. And you are correct. Going into 2K21, you got your logo. Um and again, that's like, let's do this. Logos came out in 2K19, all right? You had a big
mhm.
buzz, but at that time the logos were extremely exclusive. I'm talking about extremely
Yep,
exclusive. So at
yep.
that time it was
Good
Annoying
times.
TV, yeah, Knowing TV, Agent, Knowing TV, Agent, Davis, and Hank, right? Were those the first 4? Because I remember Duke
Say
didn't even
something
get
like
his
that.
yet, right? And
Yeah, they did Duke
and
dirty
Duke
for a
was
minute.
popping. What? Yeah, he had to get like
Yeah.
400K. Remember, he didn't get his until like 400K. I remember seeing Annoying with he's the first one I saw with the Twitch logo over his head. I thought that was absolutely insane. Oh, Red
Mhm.
City Boy, he had his
Yeah.
Twitch logo over his head. McGurk, didn't he have his Twitch logo too, right? At that time?
I'm not sure about McGurk. No, I'm not sure about him.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. But anyway, it was very exclusive. All right. Going through that time frame, you were huge though. You were big. Now you come from all the bands and stuff. What do you think about the logos given out back then versus the logos that we have that have been given out right now? Which one do you feel like was the better method?
I mean, I would look, it's embarrassing the state that we're in now. I I'm not even sure. I guess embarrassing would be the worst word for it. I mean, it's disgusting. It's there's not even any negative word you could use to describe the current situation that you can think of is how I would say the current logos is. I mean, it's literally like just completely. Yeah, there's people that have logos that talk bad about the game every now and then, and a lot of them do. I feel like do it on purpose every now and then, just sprinkle in a little bit to be like, okay, hey, look, I'm not on. Hey, I'm not on their side. They're playing the 50, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's disgusting. I mean, you shouldn't. I really don't. I feel like 2K forces this because I want to say like a name or a person or whatever it is,
Yeah.
but 2K kind of puts you in that position because people right now are probably thinking, well, who has a logo that doesn't deserve one? And it's like if you're
Yeah.
really in the 2K community, you see this every season now, I guess with the builds and stuff, that there's people and it's just like, dude, I mean, and I'm really just trying to be like respectful because I'm not trying to say one person doesn't deserve it or whatever, but
Mhm.
I'm someone who posts a lot of news videos. I know a lot about what's going on in the 2K community, what's going on. And it's pretty crazy if I'm someone who that's what a lot of people look to me for is news and what's going on. And I see people that have a logo, I have no idea who they are. No idea. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
different from like Joe Knows, who has his kids and he's kind of like off to the side, plays his pro-am, does his own thing. But I'm like looking at Twitter every day, I'm looking at news, what's going on, and I don't know half the people that have a logo. I
Mhm.
mean, that's how I'm gonna say it because I don't want to do names, and I feel like it's kind of
Yeah.
put into that position. And I feel like even 2K goes even further to make sure enough women creators have it, enough people from other countries have it. It's like, dude, just give people who deserve it a logo. I mean, that's how it
Yeah.
was back in the day. Like, I'm
Yeah.
Davis, Duke Dennis, Age. Or did Agent ever have a logo? Not sure. People with the Twitch
Yeah, he
logos,
did.
like
Agent had
Annoying
actually Agent had a logo and a face scan.
and
And
his face.
Davis
Yeah.
had a face
So,
scan. Hank had a face
I
scan.
mean, it's literally night and day. What we used to
Mhm.
have, is this on the right side on the screen? What we used to have
I don't know. Yeah.
and where we're at now. This I'm backwards
Yeah.
here. But like
Nah, you're good, brother.
it's
You're good.
terrible, bro.
I
It's the
I I
worst.
I know your point. I know your point because this has been a debate going on since they did make that shift from um the 0.1%, the huge creators getting the logo, and then being way much more inclusive to where creators, it's like it's a combination of things now. You don't have to be big to be able to get a logo. You got, you can have the potential to be really well, or just somebody that, represents the brand in a really solid way. Um, why do you think the shift though? Why do you think there was a shift?
Okay, so
From the
I
way
want
it
to touch
wasn't
on what
there.
you were just saying just real quick that,
Okay.
in no way, shape, or form do I believe that the logo should just be about numbers, right? Like you said, like there's a lot of smaller creators that play the game a lot, but I feel like the number one spot by far for 2K is what you said at the end. It's like how they represent the brand, and
Mhm.
that should be a part of it, of course, but there's got to be a point where you can see that someone is not just like, F2K, the game is trash. They're actually giving ideas, and they have a passionate response to how changes should be and how things were, that you can kind of accept that, right? You can kind of say,
Hmm.
okay, I understand this guy's not just trashing on the game or saying F Mike Wang or F Ronnie 2K. Like, he really, really strongly believes in these things and thought about these ideas and presented them in at least a decently professional tone, things like that. Um,
Yeah.
what was your question? I kind of went crazy, but I just wanted to make sure I
Nah,
said that.
nah, you're good. What do you think it should be? The way that it was earlier with 2K, how they had those badges, or the way they have right now? Why do you think there was a shift from that, from the very exclusive to being more inclusive?
Oh, I mean, it's
What do you think it was
obvious. I
at?
mean, 2K doesn't care about anything except for literally. This is what Alicia is. Ready? Here it comes. This is the 2K logo right here. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't do it. So that's what it is. I mean, I think that, back to my conspiracy, right? Whatever that I have, it's literally just to say, we got this guy. We know that he might say some bad things, but at the end of the day, he's always got the logo. This is the logo right here. He's always thinking about this logo. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Um, and so it just is a way to kind of, because creators, believe it or not, to a certain extent, control the sentiment of the community, right? There's a whole bunch of people that aren't that don't watch YouTubers, Twitter, but the people that do, they kind of control the opinion in a way, it's like 50-50. Everyone has their own brain at the end of the day. But there's a good amount of
Mhm.
people that will only form their opinion kind of around what a creator says. So why not have
You're
the
right.
creator locked up? Why not have them like this? I mean, it's gonna change the sentiment. It's gonna change every single thing that person says. Has a little bit in the back that says, "All right, I don't want to maybe go too hard right here." Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I agree with you about the sentiment. I mean, when Troy Dan spoke out about my team, that got picked up. I know the Washington Post picked it up. I mean, when you get bigger creators that speak out, I mean, that's just across anything, from entertainers, to politicians, to anybody that has any type of power or notoriety. When they speak out about something, somebody's going to pick it up. It's going to gain momentum. So, in that aspect, I do kind of agree with that. Um, so let's keep chugging along from the logos. Let's go over to been very vocal also about the next makers. All right. Um, very curious to hear about your take of the next makers. Obviously you've spoken out, you got a couple videos about the next makers, but for ones that haven't watched it, um, give them your spill about the next makers and your frustrations with the next maker program.
well, I think one of the biggest things about the Next Makers now, because my opinion has changed a lot since the founding, which was what, like 2K21,
Mm-hmm.
21, yeah.
Yep.
So it it's just I wish it was more transparent, because a lot of the times we're just, as someone like me looking from the outside in, I'm just throwing darts on the board from what I can assume is how
Mm-hmm.
it runs. And like recently with
Yeah.
the Lily, is it Lily or Lele?
Yeah,
Uh,
Lily. Yep.
she came out with that comment on my page about how, like, oh, these people don't want her opinion, and then she was like, well, actually, there's a bunch of people that are in this category where they do want their opinion, and it's like, I made this off what she said, it's just no one knows. No one even knows what's going on. So you kind of have to at some point just take some sort of guess, and the guess is from what you
Yeah.
can see that comes out. I just
Yeah.
wish we could have more like, okay, this is the guy. These are the 5 people in this group for gameplay. This is opinions they give out. They give opinions on gameplay. These people give opinions on rewards, and I just feel like it just is a very questionable organization where you're just sitting there guessing on what these
Yeah.
people do, because it's not very public information.
So you're saying next maker program is just too private on what the next makers actually do. Um, Not necessarily on what's public, but to the point of what most of the people in the community truly care about, which is like gameplay. I think the next makers always get entangled with the gameplay aspect. And then it's like, well, who's testing out the game and who's doing this, who's doing that? And it's very private on that. Um, I'll say this, play devil's advocate. For me, I always say that for the next makers or just individuals that test out the game or have different type of things within 2K that they do, to always just let that individual decide whether or not they want to make it publicly known that they've done it. Because
Yeah.
the way 2K is, and I mean, you know that when we talk all the time on the phone, like I'm literally like that bulletin that gets darts thrown at all the time because people know so much stuff that I do. But I'm grown. Listen, I could care less. Like, you know what I mean? That's just kind of how I am. But for other individuals, they do care about like what people say about them and that type of deal, but they do want to have an impact on the game. So they keep it private. So in that aspect, I'm like, all right, cool. Like certain channels should be private just because you just don't want to be exposed to some of the backlashes that come out if the game is not up to par and you have a whole community coming down your back thinking that you had so much say in the game, which I think and most creators know, but for the most part, the most of the community doesn't know that like what the impact that you have. Yeah, it can be impactful, but it's not to the point to where you're completely reworking a whole game. You know what I mean? So if it doesn't come
Yeah.
out great, it's not like you had the massive impact of it not becoming a great product. But again, I do understand about the transparency as far as what you're saying. And I don't know, like I said, eventually maybe some of that stuff will open up and be known. But at this damn time, I have no clue. All right.
Mhm.
Let's talk about my man Ronnie 2K. All right. Are you still blocked by Ronnie,
Oh
man?
God. Yes. Still. Well, yeah. No, I'm not even gonna check. I'm blocked by Ronnie. Okay. I was gonna check, but I'm still blocked by him. Definitely still blocked. But back to what you were saying, there could even be more transparency. People also, it's a two-way street at the same time. People need to realize like you don't have as much power as people think. Like, oh, you said this and the game is like this. It's not like
Hmm.
2K at the end of the day, as you grow up and like really think about it, they have to make so you give them an opinion. They have to make this decision based on 13 million people that bought the game last year. Like, okay, this is
Yep.
how someone who's deep in feels about it, but how are 13 million people going to feel about it? But I also think that in the other side with the 2K next makers and all that, you could have your early, let's say you go out to play in August and you have this list where it's like gameplay and this is what I said about gameplay, and this is what I said they should do. And that way people actually have a thing to look at and say, this is
Hmm.
the feedback I gave, and this is how the game came out. So that way you're not even to blame. Like say you said, oh, the dunk meter should be how it is this year.
Hmm.
But then they change it again in 2K25. People, you can look at that and say, guys, hey, you don't like the dunk meter in 2K25? I said they should have kept it this way. This is literally my response from August
Yeah.
on the gameplay. So
Yeah.
there has to be some sort of accountability, I think, for who's making these decisions. There's got to be someone that we can see, hey, this guy said
Yeah.
this, and then it's also good because if they make these opinions on gameplay and someone does actually change it, you can say, hey, that's the guy that did that. He actually did that,
Yeah.
man. Good job right
Yeah.
there. Or hey, I don't like what you did right there. But at the same
Hmm.
time, of course, the community, the two-way street has to keep it not like, oh, F you. How dare you say that about the gameplay? You know,
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
it should definitely be so much more open, right?
I agree. I definitely agree about that. I do know that, was it this year or last year where 2K TV tried to blur out everybody that was testing the game, and you could
Yeah.
see some, and they can make it out. So that I know that obviously I'm not a very hard person to pick out. So I know that. And then they were like, okay, you can publicly come out. This was the first time they allowed us to publicly come out and say, hey, yes, I did, test out the game early. And I think quite a few people did that. Um, I will say that having I know that I've put a lot of things out on that I would love differently on the game.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of really aligned with more of like, well, obviously, you and I are aligned on a lot of stuff of how the game should be done, um, how the gameplay should be. And we always tend to have, not you and I, but it's the competitive players versus the casual players, and putting input into a game and then 2K having to digest, okay, well, how much will that affect the 99% of the player
Yeah.
base? Because we want to keep the content creators are comp. I like, and I got, if we want to put it all, it either going to be a casual or a comp player, because as a content creator, we play the game 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. The casual player might only play for like an hour or two. So if you had to just split those two up, like we want to have sub factions, let's just split it up. So you got the 99%, and then you got content creators and the pro players and the stage players, that type of stuff. We're all in one bunch. So when you have that big ass pool here of people in that little pool, we talk about this all the time. We talked about it in spaces. A lot of people know that, and you give input and stuff on it. I would say that some of the input that I did give definitely was put into the game, and I was like stoked. I was like, oh snap. Other inputs
Yeah.
that I put into, that I wanted that wasn't in the game, I was like, damn, like, you know what I mean? You're frustrated. You're like, yo, like I really felt like we needed that. And I hate, it's like the politics of, and not like the politics, like maybe that's not the right word. It's just the pros and cons that 2K has to weigh as far as, well, if we implement this, what is that trickle effect all the way through the community? Because again,
Mm-hmm.
I thought defense was really strong in the beginning, and again, it gets nerfed. It gets nerfed every year. And of course, I'm really frustrated about that because I'm like, okay, well, the defense got nerfed again, which I felt like this was a defensive type game already. But then I felt like the patches and stuff that happened caused it to where the game became unbalanced, because now I felt like offense was at a disadvantage. What do you think? You felt like the offense this year was a disadvantage, or you felt like I feel like the offense had a disadvantage this year. I felt like the offense was just kind of farther behind than the defense this year.
Yeah, so I think the game came out and the defense was better than the offense, especially in a team setting, like 5v5. And if you were playing with a good team that was pinching in correct spots and all that. A big one was it starter 3 where you get like Patty and all that stuff. So that does
Yep.
change the game quite a bit. But I also think that if you kept day one defense where it is now, and then how people are playing to this day, even without Patty, it would have probably been a lot closer to 50-50. I think a big thing a lot of people don't understand when the game first comes out is, defense is not really anything new to learn in a way. The whole, like, if you remember when the game came out, there was pro-am games that were like 30-30 and 40-40, and
Yep.
everyone was just talking about how, but they didn't know the game though. It's a completely different game. It's a different feel. The dribble moves are different. The shooting was harder. I mean, I think a lot of people don't account that the game is different. Like, it's
Hmm.
actually different. People, oh, it's the same game every year. Like, no, it's not. 2K23 versus 2K24 is a different game, especially offensive wise. The shots that you take. And back to what you were saying about how 2K has this spectrum where you have your casual players and you have your comp players. It does seem like there's so much more people that are in the community that are comp, and because you look on Twitter and they care a lot, but there's a whole lot of people that I have started to realize that 2K has to cater to. I mean, there's not like 98% of people casually play the game. So, in a big one that you could throw up, for example, is how shooting was this year in the beginning, like how a lot of people thought it was hard. I begged them to not change it for anyone watching. If you haven't seen my tweets, I begged them to not change it. That's another difference is the game just came out. No one had learned really how to shoot. I just was like really getting the shooting down. And then they change it
Yeah.
and they change it again. But, obviously they are looking at all these metrics, whoever these people are, they're looking at opinions and they're going, well, it seems like people want shooting to be easier. If we make shooting easier, maybe they'll play longer. Maybe they'll spend more money because they're playing longer. Maybe they'll enjoy their time more. There's a lot they have to account for. And it really seems like there's this big spot of people that have these loud voices. But at the end of the day, there's a lot. The silent majority is something that someone said. One of the guys that used to work at 2K, the silent majority. It's just there's a lot of people that you don't realize are actually
Yeah.
the player base versus
Yeah.
like this is our spot right here when we're talking about the game and complaining in Twitter and all that. This is 2K. Like
Yeah.
it's a big difference, and 2K really they have to account for it. There's actually even it goes as bad as there's people that think that 2K makes the game specifically for competitive players, and that is so far from the truth, bro. Like, look at
Yeah.
stage. It's been the same stage for 3 years. The Pro-Am needs heavily revamped. They took out the shoot around. They don't care about either of those modes, which is the two modes that the competitive players play the most. I mean, it's a spit in their face. That's how little
Yeah.
of the majority it is that they obviously sat down and said, hey, should we put in a new stage? It's been 3 years. And the other guy was like, what? There's only like 10,000 people that play this. Who cares? Don't put our time and money into this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And I
It's
think I
crazy.
think I know you spoke on this, Hank the Tank. Um God, there's a couple and I had him in my mind. Um let's just say some really good big creators, outspoken creators that are, good dribblers, guards. And they spoke on the fact that 2K should just make it tailored to the comp players because the casual players anyway aren't going to be they're not going to be able to pick up anything anyway other than the basics. So we as comp players, if you make it so casual, then we will be just absolutely destroying them anyway. So we might as well just they might as well just make it tailored for the comp players because the casual players are going to be bad anyway. They're not going to make a difference which way the game goes. But if you make it too easy, then the comp players will just make it a very unpleasant experience for the casual. Does that make sense to you? Do you think that's how 2K should tailor it to it or keep it the way it is now?
So it's a really interesting debate because like I've seen something similar to that you were saying where people were like, "Oh, the casuals are going to play anyway, so just make the game this way." But the people that play the game every year are going to play the game anyway. So it's like it is a
Yeah.
pretty weird debate, and I think that okay, this is the best way I can explain it. Just the other day, I got on for Hank the Tank. He wanted me to play 4 1v1 games in the theater, and it had been about 3 weeks since I played. So I went on a cruise, and that was like a whole week. And then I was sick. I actually had COVID recently from
Mm.
the cruise, and then I've been playing X Defiant, which is so good. Oh my god, so good. We got to talk about that
Yes,
at
I've
some
been
point.
playing that too.
But basically, what I'm trying to say is I didn't play for like 3 weeks. And yes, I'm a I don't want to like pat my own back here, but obviously I play the game a good amount, played for years and years. I'm better than the average player for sure. But like I didn't play for about 3 weeks. I got on and it took me one game, maybe a game. Maybe I was a little bit less consistent in terms of the dribbling and comboing, but I already did everything. I was at all 4 games that I played. I knew every move. I knew how to do the double behind the back and when to do the escape. So I think that the game has been watered down so badly to protect these casual players, which is fine. I don't have anything against casual players at all, because those are the people that they make the game. They make the if it wasn't for them, then we wouldn't have a 2K. But I feel like it's been so much crying towards, oh no, I got my ankles broken and you're glitchy dribbling on me and like, all that. I'm not talking about 2K22 left riding. I hated that. Hated that.
Yeah, I
I'm
hate
talking
that
about
too.
back
Yeah.
in the day, like 18, 19, 17, whatever.
Mhm.
That it's just if you're a above average player, anyone who's like above average, like you can get on and it's just so simple. It's too
Yeah.
like back in the day, if I took 3 weeks off 2K19 and tried to come back and do my momentum cross into, or no, it'd be a momentum spin cross and then a behind the back at the same time into the forward crossover and then a spin backwards and then you have to spin backwards and hit that. I think it was the crossover to like push you even further backwards and then you could shoot your three. Like so many different combos that there was. Yeah, they kind of looked glitchy and stuff, but it's just I couldn't do that. If I didn't play for
Yeah.
3 weeks back then, there was no way I was consistently doing any of that. And I think that's an unfortunate part of where we've got with having to please that 98%. But I do
Mhm.
understand it, and I also think that should you have to look at society in 2K as well because this is 13 million people. That's a lot of people, and I think that a
Yeah.
lot of people over years and years were like, "Oh, I got my ankles broken, and this guy put me on the ground," and it makes you not want to play the game. I mean, bro, if I got on the game and I only played an hour a day and I was getting snapped over and over by people, like I'd be like, "Oh, take that out the game." Like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? But like it's an unfortunate way that the game has gone due to I think that 2K does try for the most part try to please a majority of people. I mean, that's their job, right? They're trying to please an entire millions of people. So it's unfortunate, but I understand, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think
I was
that this is
yapping.
always going to be a debate. Like the more and more the game Um, it's so tough, man. It's so tough. And like I said, I'm I'm glad I'm not the one that's trying to make all those decisions back there, because at the end of the day, it is very tough to figure out how you can balance it out to where you got the competitive community happy and the con community happy. Which is funny that you brought up X Defiant, because when they first came out, they, with the beta, people were so excited about it because Call of Duty took away a lot of the movement that the comp community wanted. And X
Yep.
Defiant took the opportunity, like, shoot, all right, well, we'll bring it back. And then everybody was, they were so excited about it, whatever. And it's funny because even now, COD did not go back. They still are pushing forward with the casuals, and it feels like the comp community is slowly but surely being taken out. You see what I'm saying? Where it's just becoming
Yep.
smaller and smaller and smaller of a priority, because as you can see, which we can go ahead and lead into now, 2K is lost money, right? They're lost money, but it looks like in this past hearing, the one beforehand, they lost some money, like 10% or something like that. I can't remember, but this past hearing, they actually made that money back. And we all know what this shift is, and we can go into it now because you've been big about this for the past 4 years that I know of, with the microtransactions. And I also thought it was pretty dope that in the beginning of our conversation, you spoke on how you were able to do no money spent back in 2K17. Um, let's talk about this microcosm of a microtransaction. So we all know that microtransaction makes the world go round for all publishers now, right?
Yeah.
It's 75% of the revenue for Take Two. I'm pretty sure if you ask Fortnite, Call of Duty, Apex, even X Defiant that's out right now, microtransactions is what makes the world go round. I did see an article from one CEO that said that if microtransactions was taken out, gaming would die because we won't be able to make the games and stuff we do now. They're very, very massive games. The expectation and the money that it will cost to make these games just will not happen anymore without microtransactions. So now that we know, now when I read that, I said, okay, so what you're saying is that you can't make a successful game or a massive game without the microtransactions, because it's just no longevity in that, or maybe it's no future and people want to invest in that. I'm not sure if you read anything about it, if you're aware of something like that, but you've been outspoken with microtransactions. I think everybody's at point in time or every gets fed up with the microtransactions, but the cost of playing 2K has gone up every single year. You did a video
Yeah.
talking about how 2K when it was free, and you were showing like, look how much it costs just to max out your player then, look how much it costs to max out your player now. So I don't want to get too long-winded with it, but go ahead and talk about one of your biggest gripes with 2K, which is the microtransactions.
All right. So I'm not sure when this video is going to come out. What's the day? Do you know?
It was 3 weeks.
Okay, so this video will already be out. It's been something I've been working on since January, and I put like 3 or 4 days into it. I scrapped it. I had a whole rough draft. It was long with videos and all that type of stuff to go with it, pictures and all that, about something that people will already see once this has came out, but it's took a different shift. But the first thing is that microtransactions, right away when you hear that, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth due to many companies, what they've done with it. But in the beginning, and some games do this correctly, microtransactions is a great thing for a game. If done correctly, it's not like it's 100% bad for every game. Like, it was used to, hey, like Fortnite, for example, we are giving you this incredible product, and we're giving you new maps and new this and this and that and that, and that, whatever. All we want you to do is, if you do enjoy it, if you want to go the extra extent, buy this skin or whatever it is. So that
Mm-hmm.
company in free to play games is like, hey, we're going to give you a great product. It's their actual job, because if they don't give you a good product, then you're not going to buy microtransactions on a game, right? You're just going to download the free
Yeah.
game. You say it sucks, and that's it. That's a great way to support a company that's making a good game, which X Defiant, besides the first like 3 hours where the servers
Yeah.
were really bad, I love it. I'm level 40, and
Damn.
for the
I'm
people that
level
are
7.
for the people that are yeah, the people that are watching today, it's been out for 3 days. So 75 hours it's been out. And I love the game. I love it so much, and I love the beta, everything it stands for, the people from Call of Duty, how it doesn't have skill-based matchmaking, how they're transparent about exactly what they're looking for in the matchmaking, how the number one thing they look for first is ping. They don't care about skill. So much stuff. You know, they're bringing back kind of a shift from where Call of Duty was at some point and like adding on to it. Like to me, it feels like I think it's Black Ops 3 or 4 with like where they could have went with that. And so
Yeah.
I bought the $70 Founders Edition. I mean, I
Mm.
love the game that much that I gave them $70. I did this for Fortnite. I did this for there was another free to play game that was it Power World? I don't know. There was another basically what I'm saying is I load up free to play games. I'm like, "Hey, you guys did a good job. I'm going to support you because you're doing great." And I feel
Yeah.
good buying it. And in
Hmm.
2K, I don't think most people at all ever feel good about upgrading a build and having to drop another 100 for this and there's new clothing. I want that outfit, but it's 35,000 VC for that shirt. I mean, it is
Yeah.
definitely the exact opposite of where good has come out of microtransactions. And
Yeah.
yes, inflation, yes, 2K16 compared to 2K24, yes, there is some inflation to account for that and so I understand at some point, and yes, they're making more money and they're a public traded stock company. So their whole job is to make more money. But at what point do you actually say that we've gone past morality at all and say, all right, it's gone too far? Although it's a gray area and the community is somewhat to blame for because they keep buying it, but it is the only basketball game. So it's an unfortunate
Yeah.
reality we have here. But like even in 2K24, this has been the real big start of where it's no longer even where even at a business level, say you have a suit and tie on and you work for 2K or you work for other companies, so like, okay, you realize they have to make money and this is why they're doing it. That you can't even argue is 2K doing it for this at this point? Is it morality? Because
Yeah.
look what happened with the Kobe card. Look what happened. They literally have Kobe, and this was where we're at now with the Kobe card, the collector's edition that they changed the day before, which whatever issue happened with that happened. It's still not good, no matter what happened. I don't care what the even actual reason is behind it. But even before in the year, they had Kobe on the cover and they're using his name and likeness to get $300 out of someone just to get his updated card that has a better jump shot. And then in another month, they'll have another Kobe card. And then another month, they'll have another where it's like $500 now. And all the cards in my team, they've completely dismantled the mode to what I used to know and love back in 2K13, 14 when my team first came out, where you
Hmm.
would open up a team pack. Let's say I wanted Michael Jordan 95, 96 Bulls. You would open a 95, 96 Bulls pack and you had like a 1 in 12 chance of getting Michael Jordan, which you
Yeah.
could even do for free. By the way, you didn't even have to spend money on VC. You just grinded the game because they made it easier, or they've made it it used to be easier to get VC. Now it's almost not even arguable to anyone that plays my team that if you want any of these cards, you can do it legit. Like, yeah, I've seen some people that are, of course, this guy has a logo. His name's like Keezy or something on Twitter. And he's like, oh, but you can get a pack from playing. You can earn the points to open this pack, but like it's gonna take you like 5 hours to get one pack. And people are
Yeah.
like Troy Dan opening thousands of dollars of packs and still not getting the card they want. I
Yeah.
mean, it's turned
Yeah.
into this just disgrace for basketball, for collecting, for video games. I mean, this is a video game at the end of the day,
Hmm.
right? And you're now turning it into, I could be wrong here, but I think there's packs that you can only get with VC. Is that
Yeah. Of
how it
course.
is?
Yeah. Only VC. Only
So
VC. You have
only
to have VC to
VC.
get
So
it.
now, and but you normally you could have bought them with MT, right? In previous years.
Beforehand, it used to be that it used to be like that, but now I think for the past like three, my teams, you have the there's like for instance, right now, they had a card where you can get Giannis MT, which is just like from like this, he's an old Giannis card, and then you can get the
Yeah.
new Scottie Pippen right? Dark Matter, Scottie Pippen, but you have to spend VC to get that one. You can't use MT. It has to be VC. So it's like strategically giving you the MT version of a packs you want, or just kind of like the watered down or like the old card. The
Mhm.
somewhat newer one is always going to be VC. It's always going to be virtual currency for that. So you're going to have to still use the hard earned money to be able to get that. I know that that's something again. So by the time this come out, but tomorrow, which will be Friday, will be the My Team one that comes out. And we talk in depth about the My Team and all that type of deal. Not just the microtransactions, but you also have the Pro Pass. Now, the Pro Pass, I had absolutely destroyed. I remember when, okay, and sometimes I live outside of, I won't say outside of reality. I mean, I live in reality, but when you have disposable income, sometimes it's hard to think about what you just said. So I remember on Twitter, I
Yeah.
said, well, all you have to do is just, now I can be a level 40. All I have to do is just spend, blase blah my dollars, and now I can be level 40 day one. And I had like a little gift where like a person was slamming like dollars on the table.
Oh God.
Because I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I'm not trying to grind this stuff out, because
Yeah.
that's how I've always been. It's always been like, man, I hate the grind, right? I hate the grind. I
Mhm.
hate having to grind my build out to 99. I hate making a new build and have to grind them out to 99 again, right? I hate all that stuff because I just want to get on the game with a max player and just play. So the Pro Pass made it pretty pretty exciting for me initially when I saw that. But then I saw like everybody was like, "Yo, like what are you talking about? That's just more money. This is that." And I was like, "Well, they said that it's not going to be, performance based. It's not going to be pay to play. It's just that you get this, you get all your cosmetics up front, and then this past season you can get a 3-point sleeve now as a Pro Pass with a +1 3-point shot. And then for the past 3 My Team pro season passes, you can get a card, the regular card, and then you get the Pro Pass version that has better animations or a quicker shot and that type of deal. Or this season that we currently have, you can get, don't pay any money, you get Jokic as a power forward center, or you can pay the $10 and then you will be able to get Jokic that can play point guard. All right. So
Yep.
you sniffed it out early though. You was like, this don't seem right. This is fishy. And I remember we had a conversation
Yeah.
about it and we were on two different sides, but you brought me back over here. And now I definitely am like, bro, like something ain't right. When the Pro Pass information first came out, what was your, like, how, I mean, like you pulled it out early. You knew that this was not going to be good. What was it that led you believe that?
So like the day they gave us that information, I actually was like open about it at the very first day. And this was a big thing that I do is I like to get the news out quick, right? The news comes out that day. Like during this like 60-day frame we had before the game comes out, the news comes out. I like to get it out that day. So I didn't really have a lot of time to sit on it. And I love seeing other people's opinions, not so that I can like, oh, now that's my opinion, but I love to see a bunch of different perspectives, right? So I didn't have time to do any of that. And I just kind of went straight into it. And I was decently open about it. And then I was like reading comments and I was seeing other people's perspectives. And it definitely made me go, what did I even just say? Because I understood exactly where people were coming from. They were saying like, because my thing was like, oh, there's nothing pay to win right now, and we'll see in the future. But everyone was like, dude, this is literally just a slippery slope. This is the beginning. This is testing the waters. You know what's going to come. And I was like, why did I even give 2K the benefit of the doubt? It was one day where I just boom got it out, and then I just realized like this is the beginning. I think that if I could bet right now on there being pay to win stuff in 2K25 or 2K26, I would throw that money on right now. I would throw it right now that there's going to be stuff in there, and they just slid it in there with that 3-point arm sleeve, that +1. They're just testing the waters. That's what they do. If you don't think that 2K is a really smart company, then you're wrong. I mean, they're a very smart company. Yeah, they make a
Well,
lot of
yeah.
mistakes, but
They
whoever's
know
on
how to
that
make money.
marketing side or whatever, like they've probably been there for a while and they know what they're doing, and they look at all these opinions. And yeah, it's just I think that were you able to earn the 3-point arm sleeve before? Do you know that? Do you know
Yes, you can
in
get
previous
so
seasons?
in previous seasons, yes, you were able to get the 3-point
But
arm sleeve. But see now, the 3-point arm sleeve for the right arm, if you want to have like 3-point arm sleeves on each arm,
oh,
it's on the right arm. So right now, if you look at the Pro Pass, I can't remember what level it is, but you get a +1 on your 3 points, so you can get +2. But you only way you can do that is if you buy the Pro Pass.
see, it's a really slippery slope, and this is just the very beginning of what's to come. At least from what I think, I don't have the inside information
Mm,
on this particularly at the
yeah,
moment. But I think we can all see where this is going, and
yeah,
it's just one of those things, bro, where it's gonna get nasty. It's gonna get
yeah.
really like you think people were mad about this. Wait till they actually see that there's a +3 arm sleeve in there that you literally cannot get unless you buy this pass, and it's gonna be a nasty time. But the
Or if there was
unfortunate reality is
animations,
like what?
I was about to
What'd
say,
you say?
or animations that if you buy a Pro Pass, because what people were telling me is like, watch Demi, you be able to, if they're gonna let Jokic be able to play point guard, watch eventually what they're gonna do is that even though people that are top 10, they get the +7, it won't let them unlock animations. But the Pro Pass, if you buy a Pro Pass, it'll be able to, now you get that +1, you'll be able to
I
go from
see it.
84 to 85 and be able to unlock all those new animations and stuff like that. It's so many possibilities with this Pro Pass stuff now that 2K can literally open up a gold mine, because as much as we're like, man, heck no, right? Like for me, I stopped
They're still buying
buying
it.
everything on my team. I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. So I personally stopped doing it because I just came, it's like, I'm not going, this is too much slippery slope as far as me as a person that just refused to gamble. I'm just not going to do that. But Pro Pass, there is still way much more potential to pull money out of consumers in
Oh
that Pro
god.
Pass.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the tip of the iceberg. That's how I was telling people. I was like, man, bro, it's tip of the iceberg. There's so many possibilities. And now it goes to my next question. So much backlash has been on 2K24. And I saw you make a tweet about when the new earnings call came out and said that 2K was able to recover and actually made revenue, brought in revenue again. I think it was like a 1% or 2%, but regardless, it was a plus, right?
Mhm.
Um, how much of a reality check was that for you? That is like doesn't really. I mean, people are still just going to buy it.
Okay, so we don't actually know about what I'm gonna say, but I think that the only reason I didn't really get to touch on this in my last news video. I
Hmm.
think that the only reason it was positive, which they got it to be positive, which is at the end of the day what they wanted. Like if they had 2 reds in a row, that's bad. But no matter what they did, they got it positive. But I think the only reason it was green was due to the fact that it was free on both consoles for a month, PlayStation and Xbox, and they squeezed everything out of the people in my team that were left. I mean, the from it was, and I could be wrong because I don't know their actual trajectory, but for the people watching this video, if you don't play my team, they'll have like 96 overall cards this month, and then the next month the best cards are 97 overall. It's called pacing. And they were at where I think the best card, or almost all the best cards, were like 97 and 98. Few days after that bad earnings came out, about 6 months ago now, and what was it, November or something? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
And they
something like
lost
that. Yeah,
$81 million. Boom, 100 overalls. I mean, right after that, and that's what started
All
this
Star break, baby.
nasty
That's when it shifted.
squeezing, and just, I mean, there's been a lot. Like for the first time in a long time, I've seen a lot of people like actually not playing 2K anymore. Troy Dan,
Mm,
Ty Debo's quitting. I mean, they are literally done. So at what cost did they squeeze all these people and also made a lot of people leave? Like they did this literally for that plus for it to say, hey, the earnings is good. But at what
yeah,
cost? You know what I'm saying? And at
yeah,
the same time, I would almost guarantee you if those games weren't free for that month on both consoles and they did all that my team stuff, it would have been red. I feel
Yeah.
strongly that it would have been red. And this is the thing, like, yeah, they got this one to be green, but look how many people they just pissed off, and look where it's going. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going in a good direction. 2K is not. I seen this from DBG. 2K is not Louis Vuitton. They're not Gucci. They're not a designer brand where, specifically for my team, they're gonna have this forever, a large amount of people. They're like, yeah, oh, okay, I'll spend $2,500 to maybe get this card. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not gonna. It's not gonna. I don't think it's going to be something that's lasting. Like, it just can't. It can't be a longevity thing. But they did it just for this earnings. Like, that's what I think, at
Do
least.
you, do you think um this is sustainable for 2K? Do you think 2K is finally at a
That's the word.
crossroads where they are no longer, they have squeezed everything out of the community? They have hit their they have hit their high. Like, this is the most they can get. Almost kind of like that earnings with Netflix had that come to Jesus moment with their subscribers. They started losing subscribers. They
Yep.
basically hit their plateau. Like, there's nothing more we can, like, we like, there's other markets we can potentially get in, but we have basically hit our ceiling. A lot of companies are getting to that point, right? To where they, it's
Hmm.
just, now it's just about trying to sustain. But have you gotten so high to where it's just like, this is just uncomfortable? Um, so my question to you is that, what do you think with the way that 2K is heading? For creators, we have been hit the hardest. Our channels, our viewership has dropped tremendously across the board, from Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, across the board. People are just not watching as they used to be, right? Where do you think
Hmm.
2K's heading right now? Because even though, like you said, yeah, they might have, there was a positive earning this last call, but how truly sustainable is this? If you're squeezing every last bit out just to make it a 1%, 2% gain. We don't want to say
Yeah,
like it's just like it's nothing. Now, that's a lot of money, right?
it's a
But
lot.
at what cost, right? So my question
Exactly.
is, how sustainable do you think it's sustainable, and how worried are you for 2K25?
Well, okay, so from a creator standpoint, I don't think it's like that big of a deal at the moment in my community. But for my team, I mean, dude, like, there's a difference between saying like, "Oh, 2K's dead" and whatever, and then looking at my team. I mean, it is a disaster over there. Like, DBG is starting a new channel. Ty Debo is retiring. Troy Dan said that he's not playing the game anymore until they fix these whatever they're doing with my team.
Hmm.
There's one guy that I've seen, and I could be wrong because I looked at the my team community the other day. There's one guy. His name is HTB Henry the Blasian, and he pulls over like a
Hmm.
100K video. Everyone else is like 10K, 20K. Like, they have that mode is a disaster over
Yeah.
there, and it's crazy because even where we're at, it's still in the park community, it's still insanely egregious, like $100 for building and clothes. But like, that community is on steroids compared to park. But
Facts.
I would be really surprised if the next earnings is green for this last quarter of 2K24. Now that we've
Hmm.
got the free out the way, we've got the squeezing out the way, people are pissed off. I don't think this one's going to be green. And I think
Hmm.
if I was an investor for specifically for 2K, I would definitely not. This would not be the time. I think, like you said, it's a pop, but they have GTA 6 coming and all that stuff. So, I mean,
There you
I'm not
go.
a financial advisor, but hey, it might be a good time to pick up some Take Two stock while it's going down. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, but I don't think this is sustainable. I do not think it is at all for 2K. And I think that 2K has a lot of power. I talked about this in a news video where I think that they almost, because stocks or the housing market, whatever it is, if it goes like this, then when it goes down, it's not going to go like this usually. It's going to go straight down, right?
Yeah.
But if a stock like goes up and down and up and down and up and down, then usually the downs aren't so bad, and then the ups, you zoom out and you're like,
Yeah.
okay. But 2K specifically, not talking about their stock, has been like this for a very long time. I mean, they are making a lot of money. Like, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous how much money, and then they keep charging more, and then they're making more money. They're almost in a position where they need to pop their own bubble. Like,
Yeah.
they
Let's reset this.
they have it's like, hey, they keep buying. Like, imagine you're a company, and I used this example before, and you're the only hamburgers, the only burgers in Tennessee or just in the United States or something,
Hmm.
and you charge $10 for a burger. Everyone comes in, it's packed house, everyone's buying the burgers, they love it. Then you change it to $20 because it's like, okay, we got a lot of people in here. Let's the demand is crazy. Let's put it to $20. Then it's still a packed house and everyone's buying it. And then maybe you're getting some people that are like, hey, what's going on? I used to love these $10 burgers, and then they're $30 because you're like, hey, why not? They keep buying it. It
Yeah.
just keeps on going. I mean, at the end of the day, as a business, why would you not? If you're a public traded stock company, it's kind of like a gray area of evil and morality, like we were talking about
Yeah.
before. But I mean, you just got to think about that side. That's like, hey, let's keep making more money because we can, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say this. Um, that's why, you know, monopolies are just is illegal in the United States. And of course, obviously,
Hmm.
2K is not legally a monopoly, but the problem is when NBA Live stopped making games, and same thing like people at EA for Madden and their fan base, when you are strapped and you only have one source to go to, which is again for NBA basketball games, it's just NBA 2K, that they can basically do whatever they want. And you have to choose between, okay, well, what is the alternative? You want to go play on the mobile games, right? That's the
Yeah.
only alternative, to play on your phone. So that's the reason why at the end of the day, you're going to be able to have the choice. Either you don't play a basketball game on your console, or you suck it up and play with whatever 2K has. That's why I've always said that regardless, I'm always going to be the person that's open to, I just want competition. We need more
Yep.
basketball games in console, simulated basketball games in console. I know there's been talks. I've been hearing stuff about NBA Live coming back, and we've been hearing about that for the past 3 years. But I feel like the chowder's been a little higher now since the EA's brought out the college football game. Um, so we'll just have to wait and see on that, because at the end, that's just what it's going to be. We have to figure out a way to have competition, and if you don't have competition, what they needed, what to me, like licenses that are just going to be exclusive licenses, to me are just absolutely not good for consumers, right? Anytime a publisher gets exclusive rights, that is not good. That's why that's why there was such a big outcry with Microsoft when there was fear that Microsoft was going to make Call of Duty exclusive just to the Xbox. And everybody was like, oh, heck no, right? You know what I'm saying? Of course, for Microsoft, that's good for Microsoft, because now everybody has to leave. If you want to play, Call of Duty, you have to leave Sony and your Nintendo Wii to go over and play Call of Duty on the Xbox. That's going to be a massive issue. You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
hopefully, we can get some other competitors in the mix, because at the end of the day, when there's competition, believe it or not, it will make Take Two better, because they have to make a better product. And then, of course, as consumers, we get to have the freedom of choice. And that's what I always like, a freedom of choice. Now, if that freedom of choice leads to, like for me, I see a Samsung phone, I see no, a Pixel phone from Google, and I see an Apple phone, I continuously go to Apple. But I have the choice of other products to pick from my phone.
Yep.
When I, in the fall, want to play a basketball game, I don't have a choice.
No, you
We don't
don't.
have a choice,
You
man.
don't.
We don't have a choice. You either, again, play 2K, or you play on some mobile game on your phone. And I don't want
Yeah.
to play on my phone. So then you play 2K, because that is the choice you have right now. Not trying to say that if NBA Live came back, I'm leaving 2K and I'm playing NBA Live. I just want the choice of two good
You have a
products, and the
chance.
choice of, there you go. There you go. Um, so let's move on to some other things that I want to kind of do some rapid fire because I want to be here all day. I know I brought it up
Okay.
beforehand, but I want to bring it up again. The thing with Ronnie, I said, are you still blocked from Ronnie? You said, yeah, you're still blocked by Ronnie. What's up between you and Ronnie, man? Why do you feel like you was blocked initially? What do you remember? What caused you to get blocked? So I know Hank got blocked. I know Ronnie blocks a lot of people, but then he unblocked some
Yeah.
people. But what do you think um the issue is between you and Ronnie 2K?
Dude, I couldn't even tell you, honestly. When I got blocked by Ronnie 2K, or at least when I noticed that I did, it was they were at some summit, something to like, where 2K was there and there was a bunch of other video game companies. And I thought that I can't remember what year it was. I thought that they were going to give us some news on the new game coming out. And instead they talked about like workplace safety and like a bunch of HR professional, like odd stuff to be at that
Hmm.
place. I tweeted about that, and that is around the time that I noticed that I was blocked by Ronnie. I don't know if it was because of that. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's another thing about 2K, kind of going back to like the next makers talk from earlier and things like that. When I lost my logo, I still to this day don't know why I lost. Like I know why I lost it. Like, yeah, I was, trashing the game, but no one ever came to me and was like, "Hey, this is why we took it, man. Sorry that it had to be this way. You made these decisions. Whatever it is, just tell me." I don't know why Ronnie 2K blocked me. I don't know why I lost the logo. Um, it's weird. I don't have anything against
Yeah.
Ronnie himself. When I talk about Ronnie, it's Ronnie 2K, not whoever he is when he is offline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't even really talk about Ronnie. Like
Yeah.
it's very rare that I talk about him anymore. I
Yeah.
used to like talk about devs and talk about these people. Now I'm just talking about 2K. And the unfortunate
Yeah.
reality is that I don't even really hate 2K24 that much. Like there's a good amount of
Yeah.
people that think that I just hate the game and I hate 2K as a company. It's definitely much more of a company in the decisions they make. I can get on 2K and have fun. Not all the
Yeah.
time, but I can get on 2K24 and get on my bunch of different builds, which is a reason why I think that I have fun is because I'm able to have multiple different play styles and stuff. I can have fun playing the game. And
Hmm.
it's my favorite 2K, which doesn't say a lot since 2K20. Yeah,
There
I
you
think
go.
it's better than 23. I think it's miles ahead of 22 and 21. Those games
Yes.
were pitiful, in my
Yes.
opinion.
I
And,
agree. No, I agree.
it's not saying a lot, like I said, but it's really just the business and the decisions they make that I'm so critical about. Yeah,
Hmm.
if I was able to speak about the gameplay to a developer who would actually listen, for example, or whoever, and rewards and all that, like, yeah, I would definitely have a lot to say, but not nearly as much as I have to say about what they're doing with the overall spectrum of like my team and the build prices and all that type of stuff. And I think the biggest issue with where I'm at or where we're at in our community is the incentivization to play the game. I just don't think there's
Yeah.
any reason to play. Like I the season passes is just a disaster. Like, yes, it was something people asked for, but that doesn't mean you have to do it 3 years in a row. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that like, okay, we put it out, people didn't like it, they thought they would have maybe. Let's switch it up. Let's try something else. And there's just no reason as someone like me, I really can't see. Let's say we had 100 people in a room, right? And every season we go, guys, this season there's going to be a mech suit at 39. I don't see more than like three people being like, "Yeah, come on, man, great job." Like, no, I don't see it, bro. I don't, and
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe they have these stats that prove otherwise. I just
Hmm.
don't see it. Like, I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing for seasons for 2K is not what people are excited about, but it like brings people back each season, even if it's only for a day, and their numbers look good. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're able to present to their shareholders that 2 million people actively play the game every day, and it's a part of that, like the daily wheel spin. And I think there's something in my team that you can do daily. Like they do this on
Yeah.
purpose. You know what I'm saying? They do all of this, and they look at stats and they look at numbers. I just don't see how it has continuously been successful versus other things that they've done in the past. Like, dude, and I've said this a bunch of times. It's not the first time I've ever said it, but in 2K20, I had 70 plus videos with the word legend in it. I think I
Yeah.
might have like 2 this year. And
Yeah.
even though there is a lot of people that are like, "Oh, but, I'm not a no life and I'm not gonna hit legend." You have to realize there's a big different perspective where even if there's only 300 people that hit legend, like let's say back in 2K20, I was like the 6th or 7th person to hit it on Xbox in 2K20 because there was a reason to grind. First of
Yeah.
all, there
Yeah.
was a reason to do it. It was awesome. It made you overpowered. People watch. They Even if they are not doing it, there's a lot of people. It might not be that person that says I'm not a no life whatever. There is I mean, I was consistently 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. Like, it
Yeah.
changed the entire game. I specifically remember in a way, this is a good example, that Joe Knows had a Bill Russell build with like a 43 pointer that now could
Yep.
actually shoot like decently consistent if you were good at the game. And it
Yeah.
just changed the entire aspect of the game. Like, my two-way slashing playmaker now became it was like I didn't have, or no, sorry, I had a slashing playmaker. I was
Yeah. You did. Yep.
really close to the meta
Pure
of
yellow.
2K20. I made a slashing playmaker in the beginning of the year, not a two-way slasher. Still, it was a really
Hmm.
good build because it had more offense than defense. But what I'm saying is it now turned it into a god on offense and
Yep.
basically a two-way slashing playmaker because of the 10 extra defense. So in my opinion, it made it better than the two-way slashing playmaker at Legend because we were just crazy on offense. I mean, it changed every single
So,
build. The
so what you're basically saying then is that the legend reward this year, basically, to only have 10 people was an absolute mishap.
Even so, first, the Legend rewards was like, yeah, it was for 10 people, and it had a good, like, yeah, it gave you the attributes, and then I think there's 2 rewards before that that give you like +3 in an area and +3 in an area.
Yeah, starter 3.
Those are great rewards if they just gave you badges and animations. I mean, that's
Mhm.
if you go back to my videos for before the game came out, you could clip it up, and maybe I said it so many times that there was one time I didn't include this at the end, right? So, like, you could make it look like I didn't say this, but I said, give us attributes, but they have to come with badges and animations. If
Yes.
not, it doesn't do much. I mean, the only one that I can think of that does anything is the 3 point, because that's
Yes.
confirmed by 2K Labs that, like, let's say you have +7-3, 92 versus 99 is big on the green window. But even
Yep.
at the end of the day, we're literally trusting 2K that these attributes are even doing anything. So, hey,
Mhm.
tell me, like, 92 versus 99 dunk in just attributes, I don't even see that doing anything. I don't know how
Yeah.
92 versus 99 ball handle. I don't what does that even do? It
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to
But
say
you're
is,
saying it needs to be tied to an animation to be able to unlock animations.
and
So if you
badges.
had a
Yeah, and
build and badges.
yeah, so, like, we're sitting there, and like I said, I don't even trust 2K that that even does anything. But I will
Mhm.
trust them that, hey, now from my 92 to 99 ball handle, I can physically look and use this badge now, Hall of Fame from gold. I can use this animation that I wasn't able to unlock on this build. I
Mm.
can actually use them, and I can trust that. And it also makes my players super overpowered. But another thing is, people are like, oh, well, I don't want people to be super overpowered. This is like a few hundred people out of the 2
Yeah.
million people that play Park. Like,
Exactly.
the chances that you even play a legend when you get on is very low. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
No, I
let
agree.
these people,
I agree with you.
this is literally society. Like, you, even in a video game, you play to earn. And at very, very rare times in society do you ever just start something and you're already the expert, you know? That
Yeah.
you're already the expert on 2K because you hit level 40 in 3 days or 4 days and you didn't even get anything for it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, that's
I
that's another thing is, like, yeah, everyone can get these rewards now, and it's more for the casual player, but, like, they don't even I feel like they don't even like them, most of them. I mean, what are you even earning at the end of the day?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that with the legend reward, and I think we're both on the same page here, is that the legend rewards Well, I'll say this because you didn't bring this up, which I thought you would have, but you didn't. I felt like the Legend Award should have been just starter three so everybody can hit it. To me, I lost my motivation of even grinding the game because I was like, well, I'm not even going to hit Legend because I'm not going to play the game that long to be in the top 10. Right. So I
Yeah,
felt like that was a mishap. Legend should go back to
that's a big
where
one.
there's a certain level you should hit, and then you should be able to get it. And
Yep.
and you hit on what I also agree with. Also, like just imagine if the same awards we had now, like if the same awards you have currently right now, but then anybody that hit starter three was able to get it, or just say starter four, then like, or there's something else out there, or just after starter three, it is legend, like it was in 2K20. Just imagine how many videos you'll be able to drop for legend. But then not only that, but just having so many of those competitive players like myself that play park. Like I don't even get in the park. I play the park casual a little bit now. I go play pine team a little bit. But if I knew I could hit legend, I would have been grinding my ass off for eight,
Yep.
10 hours a day doing, but I didn't. You know what I mean? Because when I first saw that there was no way I was going to hit legend, I'm not playing as long, many hours as Poor Boy Sin or ISO Ninja or Wizard. No, I'm like, man, bro, these guys in the game like 18 hours
Exactly.
a day. I'm not. Why do I can't compete with that 10%? I mean, with those top 10. So we do agree on the fact also that these animations should be able to be unlocked with the +7. I felt like the +7 was dope, but it was a mishap when it wasn't able to unlock animations. And then also, again, those +7 didn't also unlock badges. It should have unlocked badges, animations, and open it to everybody. That would have been the perfect legend rewards, right? That's how it is. So
Yeah.
we agree on that. Now tell me, how funny was it to you that the lowrider was put into the to the to the pro pass, not a pro pass, in the pass in general when it was an actual ledge reward the previous year? What was your take on that?
Well, that's something I forgot to talk about earlier when I said that 2K was spits in the face of the competitive community and people there's people that think that, they make the game for those people. Like we said, the stage has been the same for years and the prom has been the same for years. I mean, just look at this. Now they're like, "Hey, you hit legend last year. Well, now Timmy Three Shoes can get that by playing like 20 hours of rec or 10 hours of rec." It's literally
Mhm.
like just slapping people in the face over and over. Not only is it a recycled reward, the reward sucks. People were able to get it before. It's not new. No one liked it. No one liked it that I know of.
I
It's just
remember vividly
insane to
watching
me.
Key Sticks reaction when he hit legend. He saw the lowrider. I mean, I saw his reaction. He tried his hardest, but I felt bad. I was like, damn, like he
Yeah.
really. You could see in his face. He was like, yo, I really just put all these hours, 20 hours of sleep, only sleeping for 4 hours a day, and like that, it crushed him. It crushed him, and it crushed a lot of people. I remember I'm not gonna call any creators names, that are really close, and they just stopped once they saw what the Legend Awards were. They stopped. Um,
Yeah.
we don't ever want that. We want it to where when someone hits legend, everybody's hungry and wants to get it. Like in 2K20, everybody and they mama wanted to get those extra badges because you could
Yeah.
then all of a sudden get, like you said about your slashing playmaker. For me, I had the lob threat. I had no shooting badges on it, but then I was able to get, 4 or 5 gold badges and I could shoot threes with them. Um, that is something that, I want that back. I think all of us even though we're a small percentage, this small percentage only affects us because, like you said, and again, I agree. It's not like little Timmy's playing Legends every single day. It's still
No.
gonna be only a handful of us that even has the availability. We do this full time that we can go and grind Legend when we want to. Most people that are working jobs and stuff are just not going to have enough time to hit it to where it makes sense to really go for it. I mean, if you hit legend like the day before 2K25 comes out, maybe that's great. But at the end of the day, you don't get to enjoy the rewards. You and I for 2K20, like I got mine pretty quick too. I think I hit legend for on 2K20 like in January. And then ever since then, I never hit legend again because I just felt like the rewards wasn't there. I did hit legend the time when season pass came out. You all you had to do was hit level 40 straight year, 4 times out
Yeah.
of the season, you got legend.
Repair it.
But outside of that, yeah, I never did it again because I felt like it wasn't worth it. I would have done it this year if it wasn't for the top 10. I would say that, but the top 10 definitely knocked it out. Um, let's go on to another thing because I want to kind of do rapid fire with these because I want to try to wrap this up.
I want to
Community
interrupt you
Day.
just real quick,
Go
just
ahead.
one
Yeah, go
time.
ahead.
One time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Imagine you hit legend in 2K20 before, because I can't leave without this.
All
Imagine
right.
you hit legend in 2K20, and then you started to go make content. You were playing the game less because you're getting on, you get your content, you post it, whatever. Or now you have like some things to do in real life, and you are
Mm-hmm.
not playing the game as much, just in general. And you lost your legend.
Oh yeah.
That's what happens this year.
Yeah.
You can lose
Yeah.
lose
You
your
gotta play.
legend is just crazy to me. It doesn't
You're
make
trapped.
any
You
sense.
trapped.
And
Like I
then
said, I don't.
like
I don't know. I don't know.
2K20
Like I said, I don't understand.
and then 2K22 with the parrot. Like, I don't understand how you go from there to
I
there.
forgot about
I
that.
don't understand that. I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I'll
Yeah. I
let you
forgot
keep
about
going,
that
but
damn
it's
parrot.
just I had to.
I pushed the parrot deep, deep, deep in like, my memory bank. I don't want to bring that up again. I remember that, man. The parrot was a tough one. I remember when it leaked. Remember when it leaked? And everybody's like,
And they
no,
had
that's
like the
not it.
Chinese
That's not.
writing on it.
Yeah, yeah. And everybody thought it was
Yeah.
like, there's no way that's the legend award, da da da. And then come to find out it really was. It was pretty heartbreaking. But at least we can say this, that 2K's definitely been going back track onto what we are expecting, which is make our players demigods. We put in the hours to make our players demigods. But
Thank
yeah,
God. Yeah.
let's talk about community day. Your community day snubs. Um, I think it's kind of like stuff like we don't need to talk about the fact that why you think you're not being. We both know why we assume that you're not being invited. But I want you to
Yeah.
give your spill on why individuals that are outspoken like you deserve to be recognized by 2K with invitations and stuff like that, like a community day or testing the game early and stuff.
Well, let's just be real here. And I hope 2K is watching this.
Oh, they
We
are. They
both
do.
know, we both know, we all know that 2K Community Day is not, and people used to think this. They used to think like, oh, it was the creators go there and they're gonna give their opinions on the game, and like they like or the game, like they said this here and that's the game. In reality, we know that it's not. It's more of a promotion thing, right? Like creators
Hmm.
go there, they play the game, they upload this about the build. I think that even if you have your differences with me, I think it's still just a stupid decision, a dumb decision. I mean, any word for that, to not invite someone that can easily garner this promotion that you want. Although I'm not necessarily like I'm going there with an open mind to say and give my critique on what I've seen. It's
Hmm.
free promotion. It's so much free promotion, and you're sitting there. And I hate. I see. This is where I was getting at earlier. I hate that
I,
2K puts me in this position to say this, but you got your fill-ins. You have so many fill-ins because you care about diversity and whatever the hell has going on with society these days. That you got people here that don't even play the game. They don't even play. They don't even know what the hell they're looking at. They play for 20 hours and across the whole year. They get on and they do whatever it is for their promotion and to keep their logo and say what they say. They don't even. They're not. They don't do anything. There's people there that there's people that were at 2K24 Community Day that have uploaded and posted more content around that week than they have posted since that week. Like they posted
yeah.
a few videos there in their tweets, and they have still not put out as much content since then. I'm looking at people's
Hmm.
channels that have posted 3 videos in the last year that's there. I mean, it's like it's a slap in the face. They just continuously slap people in the face over and over. The same with the parrot. It's another thing you can add on to. They don't care about the people that play the game a lot. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
And yeah, they invite the people that are sometimes critiquing it, but it's ridiculous that behind closed doors we could all say, hey, we know why we have these people here. This is obviously why. But we're not going to invite this guy who could very, very much help with this promotion because he hurt my feelings. He hurt my feelings when he said this about the parrot. How dare him? It's like, it's ridiculous,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. 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 Let's try to go to something a little bit more lighter then, man. You know what I'm saying? I know we've been kind of going through like your thing, but of course, I know everybody wants to hear these. So you basically hit on everything that you spoke on a lot, and I appreciate that. But let's talk about some lighter things. Let's talk about your journey as a 2K league, playing in 2K league, being a winning some money in the 2K league. Um, how was that to be able to play against professionals and know that you could hold your own?
So it was a pretty cool experience. I wish that more people understood that, I went there and I played in a cash game for $10,000 on stage against a guy, Rec Combos, who became a 2K League player the next year in 2K22, where that was the biggest left right set shot 25 cheese game ever. I was the lockdown having to guard that. I mean, that was, that I give myself some credit for that, right? Like we did that on stage, me, my boy Dario, and Crucify. Like, man, shout out to them. Amazing experience. It was really cool. And this was before the WNBA was popular. They took us to a WNBA game, and I seen Sabrina, whatever her last name is,
Yeah,
IMS, whatever. She
yeah,
was
for Mercury.
hooping.
I mean, for Liberty.
Yeah, so that team or the other team they were playing had this like 7-foot Asian stretch big, and she was draining threes. I was like, because I was like most people under the impression that women weren't like that good, but I was like blown away. Maybe they were just hooping that day, but like it was insane. I knew right
Mm.
there that I couldn't take any of them on the court. Like it didn't matter
Facts.
what time of day it is or after they just played a game and I'm on fresh legs or like they were hooping out there. So I would say the 2K League experience was really cool. Um, it's unfortunate that, how do I say it? I believe the reason that I haven't came back since 2K22 is due to everything we've talked about, my heavily critiques of the game. Because although I
Well,
think
once
the
you
league
sign with
tries to
2K,
act,
I mean league. Once you sign with the 2K
the
league, you
league,
had a
yeah,
contract with
the
them too,
league,
right?
yeah. So
No,
not
you had a
2K,
contract
but
with
the
them too,
2K
right?
league. Yeah, so I had a whole year with them where I was like, I played in
Mhm.
tournaments and I went to live events, and it was really cool. Still never been paid $1 by 2K, by the way. Everyone knows that. I talk about it a lot. But I think the league tries to act like 2K has no influence on who they pick. But I really think that that's the reason why, like, there wouldn't be a reason why they haven't brought me back. Like, I did everything I could. I won a tournament on stage. I heavily promoted. I was having a good time because I like competitive 2K. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't like, and, there's a lot of things the 2K League does wrong. I'm just going to get that out the way. But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't like, the where the 2K League is, how everyone's left riding and whatever. But I still enjoy it. I enjoyed playing against the professionals. It was super fun to me because I have this super hard competitive spirit. Doesn't matter if it's rock, paper, scissors. I'm going to compete with you. But like, yeah, we know why I haven't been brought back. We know,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate, but that's where we're at.
Yeah. I think to me the big thing was, and we're seeing that right now with Joe Knows, Black Market, um, how a lot of people are starting to realize that content creators, again, we do not, and as I said earlier, we do not fall in the casual category, right? I'm not trying to say we're professionals, right? But there is some creators, and I won't even say some. There's a lot of content creators that can dabble in the professional leagues.
Oh yeah,
And for the longest time, I felt like we were always thrown into this like, oh, you're content creators, you're not really good, you just make content, da da da. But I see in your videos all the time, you show your win percentages, 90 plus win percentages, all this thing every time you play. You are a really, really, really good player. And you play guard. Obviously, for 2K League stuff, you play lockdown.
mhm.
My question is, do you feel like the 2K League should benefit more on trying to get content creators that are really good, that play the game a lot, like yourself, opportunities in the 2K League? Because we all know the 2K League is currently in a position of where they're just not doing well with the community and viewership. And they can get individuals like yourself, Joe Knows, Grinding, Solo, Laker Fan, La Monsta, Hank the Tank, like these individuals that you see in other publishers, your Call of Duty, your Apex, and pretty soon X Defiant, those so-called professionals that they put out there are really the big content creators, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think the 2K League does not use that same model? Or
So
or and if
I think
and if they should use that model.
I think for a long time, 2K has always had your creators that are more content creators than competitive. And then nowadays, you also have people like me or Joe Knows, a Monster that can do both. Like we can play, we could. My team was one game away in one of the 2K League seasons from making it to the playoffs. We would have like made like 3 grand that day if we had won that game. And we didn't even get to play with the guard we wanted to. So I think there's a lot of creators that it wouldn't even look, how do I say it? It would be organically growing the league by inviting people out that, because like imagine if they just invited out a bunch of people that weren't good at the game that made content, like, and they just got destroyed every time they played league players. It would organically help grow the league if you invited people out to, like, so let's say Joe Knows team versus another 2K League team for $10,000 or $20,000. I mean, how could that not benefit the league? And I'm not sure who makes these decisions at the end of the day. I don't know if it's the
Hmm.
league or the 2K has to make. Like I said, I think that 2K does have a big part in that. Although, I've heard some things behind closed doors. I'm not going to say, but
Yeah,
I don't see why they don't do it. It's 2K makes you have a lot of head scratchers, where you're just
yeah.
going, why would you not do this? Like look at what Joe Knows specifically has been able to garner in the pro am community, and people are wondering, can his team beat pro players? But maybe that's why they
Mhm.
don't want to bring him out. Because what if he does slap all the pro players? I mean, that's
Well, he
not a
already
good
did
look
that.
either.
He already did that. So the
Yeah.
Pro 2K League players are allowed to still play in season. They're still able to play in other tournaments and leagues and stuff. And Joe Knows slapped up on a lot of different individuals. Um, Speaking of the Joe Knows stuff, what's up with you? You and Joe Knows, y'all are like, what are y'all relationship? Do y'all talk? Are y'all cool? Like, I know y'all had a big thing beforehand some years ago when he said that you were taking his content and all that stuff. Do y'all talk now, or y'all just kind of just stay in your own lanes?
Oh yeah, I mean, we talk a lot, like or not a lot, but like we have a good relationship now, and we've fully got past that. I wasn't a kid when that happened, but I was like 21. You know what I'm saying? It was a way different time. I'm not even the same person I was back then. Like I wouldn't even want to be cool with who I was 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That's how
Yeah,
much it's
yeah,
been different. But I uh I think something that people should realize, like, okay, I think that if I put a good amount of time into trying to be in the 2K league, I could make the 2K league. I think Joe Knows could. Uh,
hmm,
so people should realize that even though Joe Knows can beat these people and I can beat those people, it doesn't mean those players are not good. Like we all know that Joe Knows is really good at the game. So it
yeah,
shouldn't be like, oh, the casuals versus the professionals or whatever they made it out to be. Like Joe's a really good player. That I don't think that takes much away from professional players, but that's for
hmm,
some reason where so many people take it. They're like, "Oh, Joe's able to beat them, so they're not good." Like, bro, you would get slapped. Like like,
yeah,
and then a lot of people think like, "Oh, league players are not good." They're just made by their team, but that's what team basketball is. That's what they play. There's a lot of
yeah,
players in basketball that you could pick apart one on one, and they wouldn't be able to be as good. That's the whole
hmm,
thing. You're good at team basketball.
yeah,
And people think, oh, the guard cheeses and this guy cheeses. What about the lockdown? How's the lockdown cheesing? The lockdown has to guard the cheese. The center has to know when to
hmm,
slip, know when to roll, get in position, box out for the rebound. I mean, it's yeah, it seems like simple things, but when you're playing five other people that do the same thing every single day and they're talking, communicating, and pinching, and full court pressing, it's a much different game, and I think that a lot of people don't even understand. They can't even get to that spot to understand that it's not like the rec. It's not like the rec.
yeah,
Even if you're playing a full five in the rec, how long have those people played together? How much are they communicating? How much are they trying? You got to remember there's money on the line. Like it's a
yep,
whole different thing. They have watered down builds. They have less badges. They have no
yeah,
Gatorade, no jump shot boost. And I don't think it's
hmm,
a bridge that um to fully answer your question, I don't think it's a bridge that's ever going to be gapped because the league or whoever makes these decisions doesn't bring in enough people to say to like creators to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is why it looks so much different to you. This is why people are playing at the meta, because why would you not play at the meta when you're playing for money? Like, why would you
yeah,
not use the best throw moves and the best jump shots? And that's the biggest take that it's had from so many people is that, oh, they're just cheesing. It's like, Yeah, in Call of Duty, every single player that plays in the esports uses the same exact AR class, maybe like one different attachment, same exact SMG. Like, there's reasons why people do this, but for some reason, only to the 2K League, which they do have a lot of issues, is so heavily scrutinized on that, and it's odd.
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask two more questions, and then I want to go ahead and get you out of here. But we're probably going to have to get you back on because I got so many more questions. But we're pushing time here. Um,
Okay,
this is some good ones here. Your first big check that you got from YouTube. What did you buy? What did you buy? What did you use it on? And if you want to,
man,
you can
my
disclose
first.
how much. You want to disclose how much it was, and then what did you use it on?
I don't even remember. I would say my first big check was probably like December of 2K19. I had a VC glitch that hit like 1 million views,
Hmm.
coincidentally. Uh, and yes, that was what I used to move out of my grandma's house. I was like 18 or 19, and that was which was dumb. At now that I look back, it was kind of dumb that I moved out that quick because I probably should have saved a lot more. But I was just like, hey, I can do this. You know, I can live on my own. Look at this. Look at this. I made enough money to pay all my bills for the month if I calculated it right. But that wasn't for January and February and
Yeah.
the next month. Yeah, I don't remember what I did. I guess what I did was I moved out with it. That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. But that leads me to that was a good amount. That was a good amount of cash, but it's also you're right. I agree. It probably wasn't the best idea, but if you're talking to about 19-year-old, 18-year-old kid that is just trying to get on their own, which I feel like that's just what every teenager wants to do. It makes sense. And then of course, I got to end it on this, man. You are pushing to get a million subscribers on YouTube. That is like you got a chance of getting hit by lightning twice to be able to do that. You're creeping up to it. Definitely is going to happen. 2K25 said you're going to hit it. I mean, it's obvious with that, even that first quarter of the game and all the new subs that you and eyes you're going to get. Um, so you are pretty damn successful as a content creator. For all the individuals, kids, grown-ups, anybody in between alike that is aspiring to be a successful content creator, what is some advice that you would give to them?
So I'll go back to for the kids or people around that area first, kind of because this correlates to what I was saying, how I moved out of my grandma's house. A big reason why I moved out is because she lives in the sticks, and like we had terrible internet, so I couldn't stream. Like my streams were going out. What I'm saying is, if I had good internet, I would have stayed at home till like probably like 23, 24. I would recommend most people, especially wanting to do content creation, to stay at home. So you don't have to necessarily work as much. You don't have to be like 8 hours, boom, back home. Like you have some sort of like fallback and you can work more on learning content and saving up money and things like that so that you can really figure it out. Because I would say it's much harder if you were 30 year 20, let's say you're 23 and you move out and you've got to worry about your channel and your bills at the same time and whatever else is in your life versus your
Hmm.
channel, and then you get to come home and you necessarily don't have to pay as much bills, so maybe you can work less and you can focus on what you actually want to do. But I think that the biggest mistake I see with a lot of people in terms of wanting to be on YouTube or Twitch or whatever it is they feel like just putting out anything is doing something. And
Yeah.
I think that you need to be heavily critical of what you are doing and say, okay, on this video I did this wrong and I want to learn. Nothing is 100% original. I got that from Stezo. Nothing is
Yeah.
100% original, almost nothing, right? So everything, even the way you talk, the way you make content is all based off what someone else did, and then you kind of maybe you took the exact thing, but like you took it and then you changed it up a little bit to your style, and then you took this and changed it up a little bit to your style, and you formed who you are as a person, the things you
Hmm.
talk about, your ideas. Even a lot of people's ideas are other people's. So what I'm trying to say is just let's say you want to be a 2K YouTuber, watch Joe Knows, watch Double H, and say, okay, this is how he did this video, and this is how he structured it. This is what he said. He didn't spend 6 minutes talking about his build or whatever it is. Let me learn how to do this. Okay, what Double H just did right there. Let me learn how to do that. And don't just put out something and then put out something and it doesn't work and it doesn't work. And you're not looking at what's going on around you. I think that's the biggest, most important thing. I'm not saying to copy other people, but like I said, gather it, change it to what you like, or say, I don't like this about his video. This is actually how I would do it. And
Yeah.
just keep learning and being very critical of what you're putting out and what other people are putting out at what times. That's a big
Yeah.
thing too. I mean, you got people putting out videos in certain times of the year that just doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like we've got
Hmm.
some, I've made a few videos on 2K25, but like let's say for example, you posted a video on 2K25 3 months ago. It just doesn't resonate with people because it's not in the time frame of where people would even care about the new game. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think that just being very critical is the most important in understanding that you can't just like, okay, for example, on Twitch, there's a lot of people, even friends that I have, where I've told them, I'm like, you're just going on there and streaming. You're not doing anything. You're not actually like anyone can just start their stream and just stream. You're not trying to be entertaining. It's not got a, your stream doesn't have any sort of structure to it. You're just start turning the game on and talking. And you're not even
Yeah.
really like trying to entertain people. You're just turning it on. And there's so many people. They're like, oh, I streamed for 10 hours today, and I streamed for 10. I streamed for this many hours this month. But did you actually have any substance to that? Did you have a
Yeah.
structure to it? Did you say, okay, I'm going to play 2K for 2 hours, and during that time, I'm going to do this? And did you try to, form some sort of community? Did you respond to everyone's comments? Like, I feel like there's so many people that just want to put out very, very serviceable stuff and then move on. And
Yeah.
they don't actually want to do what they say. They kind of want to do it, but then when it comes to putting in actual work to do that, they don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man. Um, you are very successful. That's very good information. Hopefully, individuals definitely listen to what he's saying because one thing I always learn is cheaters prosper, right? When it comes to business like this, and I know that's well, a lot of people can think, if you're younger, you're like, wait, what do you mean cheating? Cheating? Listen, bad hit around the head, and just like he said, what Stezo was saying, like nothing's really original. It's very difficult when you have stuff that's been out for so long, right? So movies, you see movie trends, right? Like a style, like
Mhm.
like once a movie comes out, it's very successful, then other companies do that, right? It's just that's just how it works. So obviously, Badge Plugs has been somebody that's been the master of this. To be in this game as long as you have and to still be successful when you look at your time frame and you look at other individuals that got big and then burnt out, the counts are just dead at 500, 600,000 subs, and to be pushing a million subs and still being successful, reinventing yourself numerous
Mhm.
times to stay up to modern times, because now you do a lot of news based stuff, which again, pretty sure old Bash Plug back into back in 2K17 would never thought about, like, I'm just gonna be doing daily news and updates and stuff. But that is just evolving with your fan base and evolving with the times and understanding like there's a niche here, this need, and I can give it to you. But before you leave, go ahead, shout out your socials, and let people know where they can find you at. Obviously, we'll have your links at the bottom too of the podcast, and then we can wrap it up.
All right, so just Twitter and YouTube, Badge Plug. Badge, no space, plug. That's it. You only
Yeah,
got
not
two. And
Daft
hey,
Boy.
yes, not Daft Boy. Demi, thank you for having me out. I appreciate it, bro. And yeah, we might have to do a part two because I was on a yapathon for quite a while. I hope
No, good.
I
I
didn't
wanted
say
you to
anything
talk, man.
that
That's good. Well, hey, we can do it
yeah.
like Bootsy, man. We'll just have you come back on numerous times, man, like Vlad does on that TV. But
Yep. Yep.
yeah, so yeah, we're definitely gonna have to bring you back, or even if it's in some type of form. There's other things we do on this podcast stuff. So definitely want to have you back again. I really, really appreciate you for coming on, and for all y'all out there, make sure y'all go ahead and check us out. YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. You can find us on all different platforms. And again, shout out to my man Bash Plug. Thoroughly appreciative for you coming on, being truly honest, speaking your truth. Hopefully, you felt like I allowed you to speak that. But as usual, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to all the channels. And again, I will be back really soon with another guest at another time.